Hello, everyone, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is the review of the season 4 premiere of Prime Video's Invincible, the adult animated superhero show that dropped the first 3 episodes of this season on March the 18th on Prime Video. The show is based on the comic book series that was created by Robert Kirkman, who has given us such glorious comic book series such as The Walking Dead and so on. Providing their voice talents to this show, you have Stephen Young as Mark, Sandra Oh as his mother Debbie, J.K. J.K. I'm about to say Rollins, J.K. Simmons. Very different franchise. J.K. Simmons as Omni-Man. You have Jillian Jacobs, Walton Goggins, in the Partridge in the Pear Tree. There are, if you name it, they have voiced on this show. it is amazing, the supporting cast, of voice actors that you get on this show, and actually do a phenomenal job at providing their voices for this little animated series that you wouldn't think would just randomly, like Calissa Flockhart provides a voice of one of these characters on this show. The German Hinsu provides a voice. It is amazing that you get these just wide range of actors, very diverse actors, to join this little show of a comic book based on a comic book series that not too many people know about. I didn't when it first premiered. I've heard of Invincible, but I didn't read any of the comic book series. And so when the show came on, that first season, I watched the first episode and was completely blown away, not just by the adult nature of it all, but how the show was constructed, and it has continued for 4 seasons thus far. The synopsis of season 4 goes as this: while the world recovers from the global catastrophic nature of last season, a changed Mark struggles with the guilt as he fights to protect his home and the people he loves, setting him on a collision course with a powerful new threat that could alter the fate of humanity forever. Season 4 will consist of 8 episodes, and we got 3 of them today. So we got the first 3 episodes to review. I will say that I wasn't as excited going into this season as I have been in previous seasons. I don't know why. It's nothing that happened. It's not like season 3 was a drop off by any stretch, but it didn't hold that same excitement going into this season for me, and I was a little skeptical about what we're going to get in season 4, because certain shows, after you reach a certain point, you're like, where else can we go with this? But Invincible hasn't reached that point yet, but it's starting. You're starting to see that peak over the horizon a little bit, I feel, because we've pretty much seen a full character arc of one of the main villains, to whereas now he's more of an anti-hero or flat out hero, as compared to what he was in the first season. And some of the subplots are kind of petering out. And so I think maybe two good seasons are you can squeeze out of this show. But hey, I've been wrong about movies and television shows before. When it came to sequels and continuations of certain properties, I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't see that coming. Hopefully, Invincible will do that for me, because I'm a big fan. I am a big fan, despite my feelings going into these first 3 episodes of season 4. And I will say, right off the bat, I enjoyed it. I did enjoy these first three. They set up a lot. They set up a lot for this season. The only thing is when Invincible, the way they tell the story, a lot of these setups we won't see play out maybe until the fifth season or probably the sixth because they do stretch it out a lot, and that's a good thing in a lot of ways. You don't want to end it too quick. You want to keep the audience wanting more, and they are doing a good job with that. Let's jump into the first episode of this season entitled Making a World a Better Place. And this episode picks up after the end of season three. We see Mark, Oliver, and Eve continue stopping threats while dealing with their physical and mental aftermath of what happened with what's his name, Anstrom, and Conquest, man. Conquest, I can't wait to see more of that character. That is a beast. But they went through the ringer at the end of last season. They barely survived. The world barely survived. And now you see that our main characters are dealing with the aftermath and how to bounce back from that. Cecil, he appoints Britt as the leader of the Guardians. And brings the team back. Mark, he meets Dinosaurus. He's a powerful being that Mark nearly kills, despite learning that he is a human. At the core, he's a host of this being, this dinosaur whatever entity thing. He still almost killed him, but the Guardian stopped him before he was able to squeeze his neck. Because let's not forget, Mark is half Vertramite or Vitramite, well, however you say it. So he has that short temper. Speaking of short tempers, we have a scene. I guess you could say, guess who's coming to dinner when Mark meets the parents of Eve. And it is a very awkward dinner. Let's just put it that way. Where Eve's father tells Mark that, yeah, I worked at the furniture place, but it shut down when it was the headquarters was destroyed in Chicago, where you destroyed the place. So he's he's already dealing with all this guilt, and now he sees firsthand that it's affecting, if not loved ones, but loved ones of the loved ones, so it touches close to home in that dinner, and it's already awkward as it is. Meanwhile, we have the squids. They prepare another invasion, and Universa arrives on Earth and drains energy from the power plant to save her people. Eve struggles with her powers, becoming they're unstable, and she doesn't understand why it's unstable. And when she fights Universa, uh, uh, she's unable to conjure up her powers to fight her, but she does eventually defeat her in that fight. The Guardians confront the squid's threat, and Mark goes to help them. They save all the infected civilians using new technology. Mark kills Russ Livingston, the final host, to end the danger. Meanwhile, the final scene of this episode, we see that Conquest is still alive, and he woke up to say, "Oh, the kid didn't kill me. Big mistake," and he escaped captivity, which concerns Cecil, and it should concern every human being on planet Earth. And that's how this episode ends. I thought it was a strong open to this season. We got the setup of Eve's powers are starting to fade, and don't know how or why. We get a good start up to Mark's dilemma this season, where he's dealing with all this guilt. Oliver, who's trying to fit in, trying to help out, trying to be just as heroic as Mark is, and we see that the Guardians are on a whole nother level now. You know, with Britt helping out and well taking the lead actually, and I thought it was a good start, real good start, and the fact that Conquest is back out on the loose with one arm and all, he's still too much to handle for everybody. I don't care if superpowered or not. And so we move on to episode 2, which is entitled "I'll Give You the Grand Tour." And this episode, this was a Nolan Allen episode. This was a buddy cop, lethal weapon, bad boys episode with these two. I thought this was, out of the 3 that premiered, I think this was probably the best, or my favorite. I'm not going to say the best, but my favorite of the 3. I just love the dynamic between Nolan and Allen. You know, Nolan being voiced by J.K. Simmons, Allen being voiced by Seth Rogen, who also executive produced this show, in case you didn't know. But I love their dynamic here, and I love the chemistry between these two, because you couldn't pick two polar opposites than Allen and Nolan. Nolan, this strong, stern individual, and Allen is just the most unserious character on the show, basically, but it's powerful. Not as powerful as Nolan, but a very strong being in this universe. But we open up this episode with kind of a history of the Veltramite planet's history. You know, their lineage, if you will, and we see that. My God, bro, you want to talk about a race of beings just bred to annihilate planets. These people didn't care. The scene when this instructor, he's instructing these children and testing them about the history of one of their, I guess, main people who they have a statue of, and he asks one of the children a question about it, and she's struggling with it, and so he puts his hand on her head, and like, you know what we do if you can't answer, you know how we discipline failure, which indicating that if she got the answer wrong, he was going to crush her head like a Coke can. And so she gets the answer right, but tells him to come back, and tomorrow they're gonna have a fight, and only 2 of them gonna survive, or 2 of them gonna die. One of the, I forgot in which order it was, but either way, it's still messed up. You going, so brain weapons, you know, how do you tell that to a child? Like, when you come back tomorrow, you might not live, so be prepared. Just then, these 2 Viltrumites show up and started just beating down this guy. He's just beating him down, and come to find out that's his parents. And this was the day that it's like an initiation, you know, your graduation into adulthood. And how you pass that test, you have to beat up your parents to prove that you are an adult. So the parents are just, I mean, beating him to death like he stole their money, a complete stranger off the street. It was brutal beat down, but he managed to earn respect from his father, not so much his mother, because his mother was about to kill him. His mother was beating him down. He was inches from death. And so he graduates to adulthood. He goes to receive his new uniform and whatnot, and come to find out that there's a virus going around, and this virus is killing the Viltrumites, and they're dropping dead. I mean, they're bleeding from the eye, every orifice you can think of, eyes, nose, mouth, ears, and they're just dropping dead. And they find out that this alien slave race had put this biological weapon, this virus, there to kill the Viltrumites. And so it virtually wiped out the whole race, or the vast majority. They went from 8 million or 8 billion Viltrumites to 50. Not 50 million or what, 50, period. And so with the few remaining, they were spread across the galaxy to find a genetic being that was capable of reproducing with the Viltrumites. So that was when they cut from that, they cut to Nolan telling Alan this story. This is how he came to be in on Earth. That's how Mark came to be, and so on and so forth. That was his purpose of going, and I thought that was very interesting. And because for this whole time, I thought that Nolan's sole purpose on Earth was to invade it, to take over the planet, which was one of his directives, but that wasn't the only directive. They also wanted to spread his seed, spread his wild oats. And so that was a cool open to this episode. So with this knowledge and information, Alan and Nolan, they go on a quest to gather all these uh, uh, things that, these uh, little alien species, whereas they can get the virus from weapons that they can use against Viltrumites and these other beings on this planet that can actually battle with the Viltrumites and actually hurt them. And so that was their whole goal. This episode was to go around and retrieve these things in preparation to the battle that they plan to have against the remaining Viltrumites on in this universe. And it was just a very, very good episode, well put together. I really had fun with it. Very humorous. I think this was the funniest out of the 3 episodes that we got so far, but important as well. And at the end of this episode, once again, we get another scene with Conquest. He returns back home and reports his failure to the to Thrag. So it's setting up. It's everything is slowly coming together in a very good way. We move on to the final episode of the premiere, episode 3. I gotta get some air. And this episode, we go back to Earth. We go back to Earth where we find Machine Head. He informs Titan that Mr. Lau survived and is hunting them. And so Titan is attacked by Lau's assassin, but Titan kills him instead. Mark, he struggles with killing Russ while Eve cannot control her powers. Robot expels a squid, and Monster Girl, she destroys it, and it raised doubt about Mark's actions. So they both raised doubt about what Mark did during that battle with the squids. Um, Titan, he asks Invincible for help, but Mark and Eve send Oliver instead. And Eve, she seeks advice from Rex about her losing her powers. What's the cause of it? And he checks her out and everything, and he can't really find a reason. And I'm gonna hop back to that at the end of this, to this little examination that he gave. So just put a pin on that. Meanwhile, you have Flexen's return and attacks Earth, prompting Mark to join the Guardians. Oliver and Titan, they confront Lau, while Robot and Monster Girl enter the Flex dimension to destroy their anti-aging technology. And it's, discovering a highly advanced civilization that poses a major threat. Britt, he leads the team through this portal against orders, but the portal is destroyed, trapping Robot and Monster Girl on the other side with no hopes of getting them back. Let's not forget the reason they're going so hard for this technology is that Robot and Monster Girl, she ages backwards. The more she uses her power, she Benjamin Buttons. And so they're trying to find out how this technology works to save Monster Girl. And so I guess we're going to get some type of resolution to that, being as though they're trapped on that side. Mark later helps Oliver fight Lau, forcing him to retreat, mistaking Titan's intentions. He's thinking Titan is setting Oliver up to kill him. And so Mark attacks him and almost kills Titan. I didn't see that one coming. I'm gonna be honest, because Titan is indestructible, but he was destroying it. he was drawing blood from Titan, but Oliver stops him before he can actually kill him. And so with Laos being free, Titan is forced to join Machine Head's order, and Lau also returns, and they both realize that they both have been tricked at that point. As the episode ends, the episode did end, and then we get a little mid-credit scene. In the mid-credit scene, we see Mark get out of bed. He goes to check on Eve, who's in the bathroom, and she's sitting on the toilet, and she's holding a pregnancy test that shows she is pregnant. And so this could be the cause of her powers going wacky-de-doo. And so, and that's why I wanted to go back to that examination. They did a whole body scan. Rex did a whole scan of her body and everything. He couldn't see that she was pregnant. or maybe he did see and just didn't say. I don't know, but it was just weird that they didn't catch it then, during that examination, because he said, "Oh, I found nothing. Nothing's wrong. Nothing is wrong neurologically." Or maybe he just checked her brain. I don't know, but that's the first thing popped in my mind when that went off. But it still was effective either way. I think that's cool, and that adds a big dynamic going into the rest of this season. So far, I am excited. I wasn't, as I stated before, excited going into this season, but now I am fully on board with season 4 of Invincible. I truly enjoy these first 3 episodes. Going forward, as you know, on Prime Video, we go week to week. This is not Netflix. Will not dump it all at one time. We're going week to week. Next episode will be on March the 25th, and every Wednesday thereafter, until we get to the final episode of this season. I think in April, the end of April, if I'm not mistaken. And so I would love to know your thoughts on this season so far. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I think they're back to form here. And it is weird because they didn't really fall off, but this just feels right. This feels like season 2. It can't match season 1. Season 1 was perfection. But this is more along the lines of season 2 so far. Now the wheels can fall off, of course, in these next 5 episodes, but fingers crossed at this point. But I want to know your thoughts on Invincible season 4. Did you enjoy it as much as I did, or maybe not? Let me know. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of the first 3 episodes of season 4 to Invincible. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.